Hello and welcome back to Higher Sense with Haz. Haz versus the Hype, episode 2. And today's review is going to be Bleu De Chanel L'Exclusif by Chanel. Is this worth the hype? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. So here we go. This is Bleu De Chanel L'Exclusif. As we can see, the packaging is blue, or at least I hope it's blue. I am colourblind, if you remember. And it's got nice gold around the box. It's got the label on the top. Let's get this out of the box and get on with it. I'll have a quick look on the bottom. Yes, so this is a Parfum concentration. Doesn't say how much. Right, so there is the bottle there. Hopefully there's no fingerprints on there. I'll give it a little buff just for those people who get set off by that kind of thing. Gorgeous bottle. Now, I can show you what the original bottle was like side by side, so there you go. So they're both 100ml, and as you can see, original bottle wasn't as thick, but it was taller and more square. This is more deep, squat and square. Apart from that, same colours, same design, same magnetic cap. Absolutely fantastic. Really nice magnetic cap that, right? Okay, is this worth the hype? Let's dive into it. Let's test the atomizer. 1 in the air, 2 on the hand. Nice atomizer that is. Let's air this out a bit and let's see what we get off the top. So immediately I get a freshness. There is a freshness there. Freshness, slightly green. Slight citruses in there. Slight citruses. It's kind of a rindy citrus. It's not very bright. It's more like kind of your lemon rind or your orange peel kind of smell. Not that bright. And then yes, you're getting some ambers, you're getting some woods, and there's some slight little resins and a bit of leather just tucked in the background, and that comes through later on in the fragrance. But off the top, that's what you get. You get a bit of freshness, bit of citrus, touch of greenery. Now compared to the original Bleu de Chanel, this is the Parfum version, you had the Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum and Parfum. Different concentrations. Eau de Toilette, biggest projector, loudest, and it was the brightest and the most citric. And then you work your way down to Parfum. The reason I like this is because it was a bit deeper and a bit richer. So I'm going to do a direct comparison side by side on the openings for those who want to compare it from the previous iteration, because this is a flanker of Bleu de Chanel, and this will all become relevant when I go on to the end of the review and say, is this worth the hype or not? So yeah, for me, it's a similar opening, but the Bleu de Chanel Parfum, it's a bit brighter, a bit fresher, and a bit greener. And off the top, there's not much woods there. The woods do come through later on, but off the top, fresh, clean, green. Citrus, that's what I get. Whereas this one, it is quite fresh. It's got some greens in there. It's got some citruses, but there's more deep, darker ambers, resins, and woods. So they are somewhat comparable, but as the fragrances develop after the first few minutes, they go in different directions. And I will explain all of that if you stick with this review. So let's focus on L'Exclusif, because that's what we're here for, the hype monster. Now, the original Bleu de Chanel was released many, many years ago. I think it was the early 2010s, I believe. And the Bleu de Chanel Parfum version, that was in the late 10s. I think that may have been around, God, you're looking at 6-7 years ago by now. I haven't fact checked it, but what I do know is Bleu de Chanel's got 3 iterations: Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Parfum. The Parfum being the latest version a number of years ago. So this really is the first flanker for quite some time. I was excited to try this. It has been hyped by various people on social media, you know, on your TikToks, YouTubes and Instagrams and all that kind of thing. I managed to get it upon release. I've given it a number of days of full wearings, and now I can tell you exactly not only what I think of the fragrance itself, but I can also answer that question, is it worth the hype? So let's have a look at the notes. So the notes listed officially are amber, woody notes, sandalwood, which is a woody note, so I don't know why it's not in there, and labdanum. That's all I've got listed, 4 notes. Now, what I will confirm is, if you wear this fragrance for any length of time, the original Bleu De Chanel DNA, that citrus, greeny, aromatic, touch of wood kind of DNA, it's in here and it's fairly prominent. So if you were to blind smell this, I think you would think it's a Bleu De Chanel. There's no doubt about that. It's got the backbone and the DNA in here. Now, interestingly, L'Exclusif goes in a different direction compared to the original Bleu De Chanel. The original Bleu De Chanel is kind of, you can wear it in most seasons for most occasions. It's very versatile. It's an excellent fragrance. Let's make no bones about it. And it should be a staple in anyone's fragrance collection. They brought 3 iterations out. Obviously, if you want to get noticed, EDT. If you want to be a bit more classy and a bit richer and a bit deeper, that's the Parfum. That's the one I went for. Now, this one takes the direction of, it's a bit deeper, it's a bit darker, and it's a bit more classy and dressed up. That's what I get, certainly, from this. And that's good, because as a flanker, like last week with Angel Share on the Rocks, you want it to be different enough to potentially justify a purchase, because a lot of people will probably have Bleu De Chanel in one of the 3 forms. So another question is, if you have any of them, is it worth buying this? So having worn this, off the top, as I've explained, deeper, darker, rindier citruses. There's some greens in there. It's somewhat aromatic, but immediately, I would say within the first half an hour, when the top comes off it and the mid notes come in, the seep into the fragrance, it intensifies and it gets stronger, which is great. And then what you get is, you get the woody notes, which are hugely prominent. You get the ambers, you get a resinous touch, you get some leather, which I believe is from the labdanum, and then you've got the sandalwood and the other woody notes. I think that the woods are very strong here. Almost like a cedar or an oak, or possibly even an ebony. But it's not listed what them notes are, so I can only give you a guess, because I'm not a professional chemist. So I can give it a guess and tell you what it smells like. But officially, we don't know. Sandalwood is in there. Sandalwood being the kind of the lighter base note, the creamier wood, which there is a number of different woods in here. They've all got different facets at different stages of the fragrance's life, and they're all great. But I would say that this is an ambery, woody, spicy, slightly spicy, warm, touch of sweetness kind of fragrance. And I think that is great. Let's have a look at the performance on this. Now, the performance on this I thought was good. In terms of longevity, solid 8 or 9 hours for this. Solid 8 hours. Pushing on to 9 at the performance level. Now, the projection on this, with it being a Parfum concentration, I thought, yes, it's going to be heavy, it's going to last, and it's probably going to sit a bit closer to the skin. And ultimately, that's what this does. It does sit close to the skin compared to other Bleu De Chanels, especially the EDT or the EDP. It's fairly comparable with the Parfum. I would say this sits slightly closer, and I would say that the projection on this for the first hour is just over 2 feet. Once you're past an hour, I would say it's 2 feet maximum. So it is quite an intimate experience. Now, this fragrance, like I said before, it's more masculine, it's more classy, it's more dressed up fragrance, and it doesn't shout and scream like some other fragrances do, like Versace Eros and things like that. They don't broadcast themselves. They don't try and get in your face and grab attention. This is more subtle, and it commands respect. And it commands respect because of the quality of the notes in here. It's very well blended. The notes in here are great quality. They come together well, they complement each other. And when you smell this fragrance, it's just a very, very classy experience. I don't think anybody will smell this and be put off. Now, a counter argument to this is, this didn't blow me away when I smelled it. but I didn't really expect it to. With it being a flanker, I thought it's going to take us in a different direction to try and justify purchase. But I didn't think, especially when I was looking at the notes listed, I never thought I was going to smell this and think, wow, this is amazing. This is like blowing my mind. You know, like Blue Sapphire by Boadicea, for example, which we'll come on to in later months. So yeah, but I think what they've done very well here. They've given us a flanker which fits a market. This, I think, is for people who are business people, work people, blue collar, white collar workers, them kind of people. I think it's a great kind of works environment experience kind of fragrance. You can dress this up. You can do evening socials with this. You could even do daytime socials if it's more smart casual kind of thing. So yeah, I think that this is a good flanker. It's a really good flanker, in fact. And that's who I think it's aimed at. Now, like I said before, projection is more intimate, and that's why I went on to explain what I just did. So if you're in people's immediate vicinity and company, they will get wafts of this from time to time. They'll smell this, they'll notice it, but it's quite understated. That's the word I'm looking for. It's quite understated. It's classy and it's understated. It's a confident fragrance. If you wear this and you're a confident, sociable guy, you'll have no problems pulling this off. Dressed smart, you've got the communication skills, bit of banter, personality's all there. This would be perfect for someone like that. So the projection on this, slightly below average. The longevity on this though is good. I would say you're solid at 8 hours, and that's on 3 to 4 sprays. If you do 5 to 6 sprays, you're getting 8-9 hours, no problem. 3 to 4 sprays, 8 solid hours of performance. Now, like I say, the performance on this, probably for me, once you pass the first hour, I would say you're around here to smell it. If you're walking about, you will get little wafts of this here and there, but again, it's an understated fragrance. I've touched upon where you can wear this, business, socials, evening socials, dressed up, things like that. I probably, you could wear it on a date night, really, if you want to impress somebody and you're in, shirt, chinos, like a buttoned collared shirt, maybe a tie, things like that. This will be perfect. So dressed up date nights, evening socials, business meetings, at work would also be very good for this. It's not a playful fragrance though. It's masculine, it's confident, it's serious, and it's smart. So that's the situations I'd wear it in. Seasonality for Bleu De Chanel L'Exclusif. Now this is where I think the flanker does itself justice. The original Bleu De Chanel, very versatile. You can wear it in most seasons, apart from summer. So this, I would say, is perfect for autumn and winter. Maybe into spring as well, if you like. So Bleu De Chanel, the original, I like to wear that in spring and autumn. This, autumn and winter. So therefore, although they haven't really got the summer months covered because of the ingredients, this also covers the winter time, which I think the original Bleu De Chanel, unless it's the Parfum version, didn't really do very well. So, like I said before, if you have Bleu De Chanel in any of its formats, especially the EDT or the EDP, then I think that this flanker could be a very justified purchase. It's different enough in its note profile, how it wears, and the situation and the seasonality to justify the purchase. If you've got the Parfum version, it is different enough, but whether you'd want to wear this alongside your Parfum, I personally would, because I can make this work in different scenarios and at different times of the year. But whether you want to do that, I think you really need to test it first. But EDT or EDP, this is different enough to justify a purchase. Now we've got to touch on price. Now this 100 milliliter bottle is £215 retail, so that's £2.15 per milliliter. Now, as you avid watchers can probably work out by now, that is really at the top end of pricing for a designer fragrance, which Chanel is, although Chanel is at the top end of designer fragrances, in my opinion, and I think that a lot of the fragrances do justify the price. Now, another thing with the current financial climate, a lot of fragrances have been going up significantly in price. I don't know whether that's because of IFRA regulations and notes and some of them being banned and now it's harder to get certain notes, but certainly because of COVID there was a massive restriction on the transportation of notes and ingredients, and that in turn has made the prices of fragrances rise significantly. So a lot of people will look at this and say, wow, oh, by the way, 60ml is 158. So for me, the value is certainly in the 100ml. And I'm only going to talk about the 100ml because that's what I've got. So a lot of people looked at this and said 100ml for 215 quid, that's awfully expensive. It is expensive for a designer fragrance, yes. But you've got to look at the scent itself in all of its facets. Note profile, performance, versatility. And for me, it ticks a hell of a lot of boxes there. So I think that justifies the price a bit more for me. Now, everything's subjective, isn't it? You've got hard-working people from a standard background and they may not have much disposable income for the hobby of fragrances. And I totally respect that. So a 215 purchase for someone in that situation is much more significant than somebody who is a businessman who's got a lot of disposable income. He's got his house, his car paid off, he's got a partner maybe with a good job, things like that. He can buy this and the price doesn't really matter. It's just whether he likes the fragrance, he or she. But that's another thing I like to do here on Higher Sense. I love to review the fragrance itself, but I've also got to look at price, bear that in mind, and take it into consideration. So for this fragrance, yes, it's at the top end, but I do think it justifies the price in my opinion. Now, I managed to get a 25% off voucher. I think this was All Beauty, and it was a pre-release, a pre-order, and I thought, right, I want to get this for all me subscribers and watchers, because I do like to get new releases for you, keep you up to date, as well as older classics. And this came in at £154 delivered, compared to the £215, what its retail price is. Now, £154 for 100ml of this, having worn it, I would say is a purchase. £215 for 100ml, it depends on the person. It depends on the disposable income. It depends how much they like the scent itself, but it also depends on if they have any of the other Bleu De Chanels, and if they do, which one it is. If they own a bottle of Parfum and they've got a lot in there, you may want to hold off slightly on this purchase. If you've got the EDT or the EDP, then I would say test this first, but I think you can go for this, because compared to the original Bleu De Chanel, this has got deep, rich, resinous qualities. It's leathery, it's woody, it's ambery, and it's resinous. Fantastic. And it's masculine, and it's classy. Ticks a lot of boxes for me. Now, since this is Has versus the hype, I've got to look at this in terms of it's a hype fragrance and does it deliver? Now, it depends what you mean by does it deliver. Does it deliver on the scent front? Yes. Does it blow your mind? No. Is it redundant compared to other fragrances of a similar note profile? I wouldn't necessarily say so. Now, the thing with this is, if you're thinking this is a brand new flanker and it's going to be completely different, it's going to be unique, it's going to have things in here which, you know, you can't get elsewhere, then it's not worth the hype. But if you look at this and you think, I love Bleu De Chanel, I would like to try a different version of it, or one which is deeper and darker and has all the other qualities that I've discussed, then ultimately, I think, and this is a close one,
our survey said,
I think that Bleu De Chanel L'Exclusif is worth the hype.
yes, exactly!
I think it's a great fragrance. I think it performs well, although I'd like a bit more projection, but that just seems to be the way with parfums these days. Great scent, performs well. Yes, it's a bit pricey. Bottle's fantastic, you know, for your collection, because that's something which, you know, I certainly consider anyway. You can use it in a lot of different seasons, and you can use it in a lot of different scenarios and situations. So for that, the hype on this flanker, I think, is justified. But if you're looking for something that's going to absolutely blow your mind and be unique, then you're going to be sadly disappointed. But for me, so far as a Bleu De Chanel flanker goes, this hyped fragrance is worth the hype. So that concludes episode 2 of Has versus the Hype. But before you go, drop us a like, put a comment down below if you've tried this fragrance, or if you're thinking about buying it, or you've got any questions that I haven't covered in that review there. Put them below in the comments. I do appreciate my fragrance family. Been getting a lot of comments on more recent videos. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? You've stayed here this long, so you must love the channel's content and the review itself. Maybe you even like my style and how I deliver it. So subscribe. It helps the channel. We're heading up towards 700 subscribers now, which is fantastic. So yes, as you can see by this fine t-shirt here and the writing that's on the back at the start of the video, I am now a fully ordained member of the Fragrance Ministry. If you have a look in the description below, you'll see links to the final preacher, formerly the Fragrance Apprentice. His channel's in there. Check him out. Watch his videos. They're an absolute work of art. And that's why I've joined the Fragrance Ministry and the Patreon to support him and everything that he does. He's been carrying the fragrance community now for over 10 years, and I want to give him the respect and the love that he deserves. So yes, check him out. Check out the Fragrance Ministry. Join if you can, and embark on your journey to fragrance heaven. And I'll see you in the next one.